Fallout 3 is officially getting a remake, and I am excited for it, okay? I think all of us are excited, but at the same time, let's be completely real here. Everyone here knows that it should have been Fallout New Vegas, obviously. Fallout New Vegas is the best Fallout game. There is no dispute about this. But at the same time, we also all know that Todd Howard is a spiteful, short loser with self esteem issues, and he can literally not live in a world where Fallout New Vegas is the crown jewel. Because remember, before Skyrim and all of these other things, Todd Howard's official magnum opus was supposed to be Fallout 3. It was supposed to be his baby. It was supposed to be his swan song. And well, a company accidentally made Fallout New Vegas, and it was like literally 100 times better than Fallout 3. And thus, Todd Howard has always been pissed since that moment. Okay, the moment his child were birthed from the loins of his wife, he was still thinking, "Fucking Fallout New Vegas. I hope that game doesn't exist." Okay, it's just the life he lives.
Fallout 3 is finally getting a remaster. So if you guys didn't know, just a few days ago, it was confirmed that the long rumored Oblivion remaster was real, thanks to a series of leaks from the website of the developer Virtuos. Now this was of course some pretty amazing news on its own, but it also reignited a ton of rumors and previous leaks about a Fallout 3 remaster, which was originally
Well, everyone knows that these remasters slash remakes are happening because every company is trying to cash in on the old games that were successful and good because everything they now make is unsuccessful and slop. So everyone would just wants that free, easy money as much as possible, and Bethesda is obviously no different. Except Fallout New Vegas, that's never literally gonna get a remake at this point. The Todd Howard is even killing it in the show because, well, again, he is a despicable little troll. So that's just the life we live in. That's just gonna be the reality, sadly. And well, everyone understands this, I guess.
reported as a second part of the initial Oblivion leak. So if Oblivion is real, that should mean that Fallout 3 is also getting a remaster as well, right? Well, believe it or not, we
Well, you know what's my honest question about all of this now is people don't trust Bethesda making Elder Scrolls 6, obviously, after Starfield. And people don't really even trust them not somehow majorly fucking up the Oblivion remake, remaster, whatever you want to call it. And now a Fallout 3 remaster? Fallout 3 was crude in some shapes, ways, or forms. You know, in what you could do with things and what references to things was, aka the now infamous meme. Uh, Ghouls demand access to tower. You gaslight the denizens of the tower and owner of the tower to allow ghouls. Come back a day later. Ghouls have killed all the denizens of the tower. Now the tower is a literal ghouls only place. What did Todd Howard mean by this? You know, I don't I don't know what's gonna happen with stuff like that in the Fallout 3 remake because when games are being remade or remastered like this, these things tend to get changed. You know.
we actually have a ton of evidence that suggests that the Fallout remaster is on the way. And in this video, we're going to be going over all of it. So we're going to cover all of that and more, guys. Check the video chapters for easy viewing. Also, don't forget to enter the PS5 giveaway. Those details are in the pinned comment, and let's get started. So just in case you forgot or you didn't know, there was a leak a while back about the Oblivion remaster, and that's where all of this officially started. During the FTC lawsuit regarding Microsoft's acquisition of Activision Blizzard, there was a huge release forecast for ZeniMax, Bethesda's parent company, presented, and this eventually leaked to the public. Now in this forecast, we got a ton of game confirmations, including the new Doom game, which was later to be confirmed as Doom: The Dark Ages, but there was also something called Oblivion Remastered that
Oh, and now the fear about the new Doom game is that it's gonna be uh Doom the Soy Age because the dragon you ride is gay and non-binary. 10 out of 10. Okay, I made that up, but you believed it. Don't lie. You thought I'm telling the truth because it's just that believable at this point.
that was listed there meant to release in the same fiscal period as Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. Obviously, release windows change from time to time, given the global situation that happened.
Indiana Jones and the Great Circle is hilarious. I and literally every single person in the world thought that this is going to be a disaster, that it's going to be a woke mess. And turns out this is the only not woke game Bethesda has released in the past decade. In fact, it had very, very little wokeness. There was just one switcheroo where you were first forced to play as the woman for some reason, but that's it. Other than that, the women characters were nice, likable, nice to you, helpful, not know it all, insufferable, hateful creatures. It was great. But sadly, the game's still shit. I mean, it's literally Dishonored. If Dishonored was 15 times worse as a game and you had no powers, okay, it was horrible. But it wasn't woke. While you literally had people with purple hair and 15 different rainbow bins telling you this is a game for modern audiences. We made it for modern. You didn't. Like, what? How does it make sense to lie about that?
Happened right around that time, but the fact that an Oblivion remaster was listed here set the internet ablaze. It took a long time for this remaster to be finally confirmed, but also in that release forecast was a Fallout 3 remaster as well, which was penciled in for fiscal year 2024. Again, these release windows obviously changed and the release forecast was a bit outdated, but the fact of the matter is that an Oblivion remaster was in the works alongside Fallout 3's remaster. And if the Oblivion remaster was real all along, honestly, by the time you're watching this video, the Oblivion remaster might already be live. That should mean that the Fallout 3 remaster is real as well, right? Oblivion Remastered is being developed by a studio called Virtuos Games, a studio based in Singapore with 25 offices around the world and over 4,000 employees. Even if you haven't heard of this company, you've surely heard of some of the games they worked on, as they are mainly known for helping out with ports of various AAA games, and they're kind of known as the remaster company. They recently worked on the PC and Xbox One versions of Hogwarts Legacy and are hard at work assisting Konami with the remake of the Metal Gear Solid Snake Eater game, on top of the Oblivion Remastered and just a ton of other games. Apparently they're also working on Assassin's Creed Black Flag's remake, which that one is due to release this year as well. So they're a very busy and very experienced studio when it comes to bringing another team's vision to life and updating it for another audience, which I think makes them the perfect choice for the Oblivion Remaster. It's also very likely that they're the team that's also been assigned to the Fallout 3 remaster, since this was more than likely a multi-game deal they signed with Microsoft and Bethesda. And in case you needed more validation for these rumors before believing them, Nate the Hate, one of the most trusted gaming insiders,
Small fact: if the studio signed a deal with Microsoft, they don't need to sign anything with Bethesda. Bethesda has again, but it's so annoying talking about this because people don't understand. When people say Microsoft bought Bethesda, that literally means Microsoft bought Bethesda. Bethesda has literally no right to deny anything that Microsoft tells them to do. Todd Howard is not the boss. He does what Microsoft tells them to do, and if he doesn't, guess what? It still gets done because he's not the boss. Microsoft is. So when you hear sentences like this, no, this company didn't have to sign anything with Bethesda if it was Microsoft's decision. Now, granted, this company could have signed with Bethesda if Microsoft was not the lead behind this decision, but it's not necessary.
on the internet recently stated that the Fallout 3 remaster is still on the to-do list, but we are going to have to wait a little bit of time before we actually see it, which makes sense. Now, over on Twitter, somebody tweeted at him and said, "Have you heard anything new in regards to Fallout 3 Remastered? It was listed in the leaked Bethesda documents back when Microsoft and FTC were fighting, so is that still happening? If so, any idea on when it could be announced or released?" To which Nate the Hate responded, "It'll be a while before we see it, but it's not really a matter of if we get the Fallout 3 Remastered. remaster at this point. It's a matter of when we're going to get it. Now, if the Fallout 3 remake project has already been greenlit, they could have been working on it for quite a while at this point. Perhaps it's been in the development for years and they just need more time. Who knows? Maybe this is a game that they showcased during the Xbox Game Showcase that's been confirmed for this June, but it's hard saying when they plan on revealing this thing. I'll talk more about the release date and the reveal in just a bit, so stay tuned for that. Now, there has been a bit of discussion regarding whether or not the new game is actually going to be built on the Unreal Engine 5, which I guess would technically make it a remake, or if it's just going to be a massive visual update to the original game, which would make it a remaster on the original Gamebryo engine that Oblivion and Fallout 3 were both built on. From what I can tell, the Oblivion remaster is actually going to be somewhere in the middle, which means the Fallout 3 remaster will likely be the same as well. Judging by the leaks and insider reports, the Oblivion remake is actually being
modern game audiences, demand changes, as they say.
built in Unreal Engine 5, but Unreal 5 is being layered on top of the original game's foundation, which was built in Gamebryo's engine. So think of this super hefty remaster similar to the Gears of War Ultimate Edition remaster from 2015. A lot of people thought that it was a full-on remake, when in reality it was technically a remaster. It was still running the original game underneath all of the new bells and whistles, but there were super high resolution textures and effects being layered on top of everything with a more modern engine. Now, with that being said, it seems like Virtuos was more than likely signed on to do both of the remasters, since the original games were built on the same engine and the new team would have a lot of experience bringing them into the new generation. Fallout 3 and Oblivion only came out a couple of years from one another and were developed very similarly at Bethesda, so it makes a ton of sense for Microsoft to sign the same studio onto both remasters instead of having two different studios try to
No shit. Wow.
learn the ins and outs of the old school Gamebryo engine. This also means that the Fallout 3 remaster is more than likely going to run even better than the Oblivion remaster, since the team will have more time to figure everything out and learn from their work on Oblivion. So hopefully these are both pretty clean launches and much more stable games than the originals were that came out in the mid to late 2000s, because as much as we all love Oblivion and Fallout 3, I think we can all agree that these games will heavily benefit from having less bugs and random performance hiccups. I think the part that I'm most excited for is just to see how another studio can handle the Bethesda IP. Like the fact that we are getting an Oblivion remastered not from Bethesda game studios themselves, and rather it's a completely different studio that is, you know, an expert whenever it comes to remastering and porting games like Virtuos. It is going to be weird to see how the game is handled. Like, will the game be developed even better than what Bethesda could have done? And if this Oblivion remastered and Fallout 3 remastered are successful, what does that mean for the future of Bethesda games? Will they continue using the creation engine, or will there be a shift to Unreal Engine 5? Which I think we could straight up say they likely will not switch to Unreal Engine 5 anytime soon. The creation engine is Bethesda and Todd Howard's baby at this point. So yeah, don't expect that change.
Bro, I can't. Every time. What is the deal with playing of Fallout games and fucking being a console pleb? Like, what is this? What is this? I mean, you can barely shoot in this game on a console. By the way, fun fact: it's true, and Bethesda knows it. That's why they added VATS. You see, VATS, when the game became like this, were needed to be added because the shooting mechanics were kind of shit. Obviously.
But one concern that I do have regarding the remastered Oblivion and Fallout 3 using Unreal Engine 5 is the implications that this has on modding and potential mod support. Switching away from Bethesda's proprietary creation engine, or the predecessor Gamebryo, which Oblivion and Fallout 3 used, to Unreal Engine 5 is going to be a major shift in the technical foundation of the games, even if at the base level the Gamebryo engine is used, but the Unreal Engine 5 is used for the graphic layering. It raises the question on whether or not these games will support modding entirely, or if they're just not going to be a situation where you can mod these games. I mean, obviously if there's a will, there's a way, and Unreal Engine 5 games have been modded before, but unlike Bethesda's creation engine, which has robust modding support, like the creation kit is absolutely incredible, and Unreal 5 historically used less comprehensive and mostly allow for the, you know, simple modifications like texture or model replacements, rather than deep changes like new quests, mechanics, and world spaces that Bethesda's creation kit enables. So unless the Oblivion Remastered as well as Fallout 3 Remastered are given official mod tools and just mod support by Virtuos or even Bethesda Game Studios or anybody at this point, then I fear the modding situation for Oblivion and Fallout 3 are not going to be that good at all, which is a bit disappointing considering those games and the history of, Bethesda games in general always have a strong modding community. So hopefully the powers that be identify that and
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if Bethesda said, "Let's just not do any of this," because I mean, the super fans are gonna buy it anyway. The ones that are gonna use mods, they're gonna buy it anyway, so it doesn't matter. And everyone who doesn't use mods, well, they can still buy it anyway. So I don't think this is even an issue for Bethesda.
officially support it. Now, it could be that the modding support is limited to, let's say, Creation Club, which if that's the case, I guess that's cool, but I would still want, official mod support for these games as well. Now, there's some Unreal Engine 5 games, for instance, Ark Survival Ascended, they have official mod support as well, which mods on Ark Survival Ascended are
Oh man, Ark is doing so poorly.
play as well. So perhaps that's the extent of what we're getting for Oblivion and Fallout 3 in terms of official modding. Now, what would be wild is if there was like some sort of plugin or, something that allows for modders to take a mod that they've built using the Gamebryo creation kit for Fallout 3 and Oblivion and then port that over so it's compatible.
Oh man, imagine being shot with a mini nuke in the torso. That's pretty sad. That's a pretty bad way to go. Again, painless. But that's still like, okay, it couldn't have landed near me, but no, it just exploded in me.
With Oblivion Remastered and Fallout 3 Remastered. Again, that's just a pipe dream. I doubt it's going to happen. Either way, one thing is for certain, we need mod support for Oblivion Remastered and hopefully Fallout 3 as well. And we'll throw in Fallout New Vegas as well, because at this point, every game that is on Bethesda's lineup is likely ripe for an official remaster. Now,
Bro, no way. They're good. Okay, okay. Todd Howard probably is figuring out ways to say no to Microsoft as much as he can for the remake. And he's probably saying, okay, we can't release every remake at the same time, so here's what we're gonna do. Okay, here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna release this, and what about Fallout New Vegas? Someone tells him, and he's like, we're gonna release it roughly here. It's gonna be fine. And at that time span, he knows that they can remake Skyrim for the 275th time already. So that's a delay for Fallout New Vegas. Um, then by the time Fallout New Vegas is about close to becoming a remake, well, Fallout 4 now is old enough to get a remake of its own. And about that time, well, Fallout New Vegas maybe has been forgotten if we're lucky.
given where everything is at and what we know about the current lineup of remasters in the Xbox library, I think it's safe to say that the Fallout remaster isn't going to make its way into our hands until at least 2026. And even then, it might be something like 2027 or even 2028. After all, the Oblivion remaster hasn't even been given an official release date, at least at the time I'm making this video. Again, it could shadow drop at any time, and I find it pretty unlikely that Xbox would sign off on two major Bethesda RPG remasters in a
Anyone ever considered the fact that he's the only sheriff we really encounter in the game?
single year, especially if they're more or less shadow dropping the first one. It's rumored that the Oblivion remake will drop by the end of April, and I'm guessing Microsoft is going to want at least a year between their major RPG.
The fact that she survives the nuke and becomes a ghoul, and you can't even kill her then, is actually one of the funniest things in Fallout.
Remaster releases, since they're a good way to hold people over between big new games. So that would put the release of the Fallout 3 remaster somewhere around the spring of 2026, or maybe even early summer if the team needs a little bit more time to polish it up. And that's even if the Fallout 3 remaster is real. We know Oblivion is going to happen because all of the leak stuff we've had, but Fallout 3 might not have been greenlit yet. Now, one thing that I do want to say is Xbox has such a good strategy going with the remaster.
Fallout 3 has been already greenlit. What do you even mean? If it was on the thing, then it was at least the greenlit as the most okay. That thing is not set in stone, true, but it is an approximation of the most likely things that can happen. Now, granted, can something else suddenly get pulled out of the ether and, made more important? Yes. But, typically these kind of roadmap expectations, what we're going to do in the next couple of years, are more or less accurate.
Masters and remakes between Oblivion
You're talking about products, games, and things that are literally 10 years old at this point. So, the conversation around them is not gonna change a lot.
and Ninja Gaiden 2 Black and the Tony Hawk Pro Skater remakes, they've garnered a ton of hype and goodwill from the community for reviving and preserving these classic games. And if they're planning on bringing Fallout 3 back as well, it's safe to assume they're going to do it with other games as well in their library like Fallout New Vegas, and there will probably be another remastered thrown out there for the inevitable Elder Scrolls Skyrim. Like, if you're seeing all of this remastered news and you don't think we're getting Skyrim
Yeah.
remastered, you are absolutely naive to think we're not.
Yeah, we're getting it soon. Okay, that's just the system. Anyway, that was West Nemo. 10 out of 10. Bye.